You know, one of the most surprising things I've learned in my years talking about eye health is just how much our daily habits, even the tiny ones, can influence what happens inside our eyes. Now, I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to give you facts, in plain English, so you can make choices that keep your vision strong. Let me start with a little story. Imagine this. You go in for your regular eye exam. Maybe you're there for new reading glasses, or just your annual checkup. The doctor measures your eye pressure, and it's a little higher than last time. You feel fine, no pain, no vision changes, so how can something be wrong? This is exactly how glaucoma often works. It's sometimes called the silent thief of sight, because it can quietly damage the optic nerve over years, without symptoms, until vision is permanently affected. That's why eye doctors measure intraocular pressure, or IOP, at every visit. Now, here's the big question. Can what we eat change that number? And specifically, can spices in our kitchen have an effect? Before you throw out your spice rack, let me be clear. There is no scientific proof that a normal serving of any common spice will cause glaucoma. But some research suggests that in certain situations, especially for people who already have eye pressure concerns, a few spices may influence IOP, at least temporarily. And that is worth knowing. I'm going to walk you through 7 examples, and the very first one might surprise you because it's not exotic at all. In fact, you might have had it for lunch yesterday. Spice 1. Chili and very spicy peppers. Let's talk heat. And I don't mean summer weather. I'm talking about chili peppers, hot sauce, and the kind of spicy food that makes you reach for a napkin before you've even taken a sip of water. Spicy food has plenty of benefits. It can boost metabolism, add flavor without salt, and even release endorphins that make you feel good. But when it comes to eye pressure, there's a fascinating study worth mentioning. In 2023, researchers published in the International Journal of Clinical and Experimental Medical Sciences a small study where they had healthy young adults eat a very spicy instant noodle dish, the kind loaded with chili powder and capsaicin. They measured eye pressure before and after eating. The result? On average, intraocular pressure went up by about 0.9 millimeters of mercury shortly after the meal. Now, let's be honest, that's a small change. For most people, it's not dangerous. But if you already have glaucoma or your doctor says you have borderline high pressure, it's something to be aware of. A temporary spike might not cause damage in a healthy eye, but in a vulnerable one, repeated spikes could be worth avoiding. So, should you give up spicy food? Not necessarily. You could choose milder varieties like sweet paprika instead of cayenne. Blend chili with cooling herbs like cilantro or mint to balance the heat. Save your spiciest meals for special occasions rather than daily habit. And remember, the study was done with very spicy instant noodles, not your average chili stew. So if you sprinkle a little chili in your soup now and then, you're probably fine. Still, it's a good reminder that our bodies react to food in real time, sometimes in ways we don't expect, even in our eyes. And speaking of unexpected, our next spice has a glowing reputation for health, yet the truth is a little more complicated than most headlines suggest. Spice 2, turmeric. This one has been called a miracle in a jar, a superfood, even nature's answer to inflammation. I'm talking about turmeric. You've seen it in golden milk and curries and probably on half the health blogs on the internet. It's famous for its bright yellow color and its active compound, curcumin. Now, curcumin has been studied for all sorts of benefits: anti-inflammatory effects, antioxidant properties, even potential protective effects for the brain. But here's the thing. When it comes to eye health, and especially eye pressure, the story is more interesting than most headlines tell you. Some lab research, including animal studies published in Scientific Reports in 2018, looked at curcumin delivered directly to the eye in special formulations. In those studies, curcumin appeared to help protect nerve cells, which could be beneficial in conditions like glaucoma. That's exciting. But it's not the same as saying eating turmeric will lower your eye pressure. In fact, there's no strong evidence that turmeric in normal cooking amounts changes intraocular pressure at all, in either direction. And that is actually good news. It means you can enjoy turmeric for its many health benefits, without worrying it's harming your eyes. Of course, there's one twist. Turmeric on its own isn't absorbed very well by the body. That's why people often pair it with black pepper. And that leads us perfectly to spice number 3. Spice 3. Black pepper. If turmeric is the golden celebrity of the spice world, black pepper is its quiet sidekick, the one that's been in your kitchen forever. Black pepper contains a compound called piperine, and this little molecule is famous for one thing: dramatically boosting the absorption of certain nutrients, including curcumin. In fact, a well-cited 1998 study in the Planta Medica journal found that adding piperine to curcumin increased its bioavailability by 2,000% in humans. That's why so many golden milk recipes call for a pinch of pepper. But here's our big question: does black pepper itself influence eye pressure? The truth is, there's no direct proof. There are no large-scale studies showing that pepper raises or lowers IOP in healthy people or in those with glaucoma. What we do know is that piperine can have mild effects on blood vessels and metabolism. For most people, that's harmless. But if you have eye pressure concerns and notice discomfort, headaches, or changes in vision after heavily peppered meals, it's worth mentioning to your doctor. So, enjoy black pepper as a seasoning, especially if you use it to enhance turmeric's benefits. Just be mindful, if you're someone who likes a heavy-handed twist of the pepper grinder on every plate, moderation is always a safe bet. And now, we've covered a spice duo that's often praised for health. It's time to swing the other way, to a spice tied to warmth, sweetness, and holiday nostalgia, but with a side most people don't know about. Spice 4. Nutmeg. Nutmeg. You've probably used it in pumpkin pie, eggnog, rice pudding, or a creamy white sauce. It's warm, it's comforting, and honestly, it's hard to imagine the holidays without it. But nutmeg has a fascinating history, and a cautionary side that most people have never heard. Back in the 1500s, nutmeg was so prized in Europe that wars were fought over it. Nutmeg contains compounds like myristicin and safrole. In very high doses, several teaspoons or more, these can act as hallucinogens, affecting the nervous system and blood vessels. In extreme cases, nutmeg overdose has caused dizziness, rapid heartbeat, and blurred vision. There are even rare case reports in the Journal of Medical Toxicology describing temporary vision disturbances after very large nutmeg intakes. But the small amounts you use in baking or cooking are considered safe. Nobody is saying your holiday pie is dangerous. If you use nutmeg supplements, concentrated oils, or extremely heavy amounts regularly, it could, in theory, influence circulation, and that includes blood flow to the eyes. So my tip is simple: enjoy nutmeg in recipes, avoid mega doses or those silly nutmeg challenges you might see online. Spice 5. Garlic salt seasoned salts. Now garlic itself? Garlic is a nutritional powerhouse packed with sulfur compounds that can help the heart and possibly lower blood pressure. But garlic salt is a different story. The problem here isn't the garlic, it's the sodium. Most garlic salt blends are mostly table salt, with just enough garlic powder to flavor it. And we know, from large studies like the 2019 American Journal of Hypertension Review, that high sodium intake can lead to fluid retention in the body. When it comes to eye health, some research suggests that excessive sodium could contribute to higher intraocular pressure, especially in people who are salt-sensitive or already have glaucoma. The link isn't as direct as with blood pressure, but the connection between body fluid balance and the fluid inside the eye is very real. So, how do you keep the flavor without the risk? Use fresh or powdered garlic instead of garlic salt. If you buy spice blends, look for salt-free on the label. Experiment with herbs like parsley, oregano, or basil to brighten up your dishes without overloading the sodium. And here's a little bonus tip. If you love garlic salt too much to give it up entirely, add it after cooking instead of during. You'll probably use less, but still get that flavor hit you enjoy. And speaking of flavor boosters, our next one hides in plain sight, in snack foods, instant soups, and seasoning packets. Spice 6, MSG mixes. MSG, monosodium glutamate. Few three-letter ingredients have sparked as much debate. Some people say MSG gives them headaches, flushing, or dizziness, sometimes called Chinese restaurant syndrome. Others can eat it daily without noticing a thing. So what does science say? Decades of research, including reviews by the FDA and the World Health Organization, have found MSG to be generally safe for most people. And in terms of eye health, there's no strong clinical evidence that MSG in normal amounts directly raises eye pressure in humans. However, there's a twist. Some animal studies, like one published in Experimental Eye Research in 2006, found that extremely high doses of MSG could damage certain retinal cells in lab settings, but those doses were far beyond anything you'd get from your diet. So if you're sensitive to MSG or notice symptoms after eating heavily seasoned snacks, it's worth limiting. The easiest way? Read labels, choose no MSG options, or make your own blends at home. Now we've reached our final spice. It's sweet, aromatic, and for many people, the smell alone is pure comfort. But there's more to it than meets the eye. Spice 7 cinnamon. Ah, cinnamon. Whether it's sprinkled on oatmeal, swirled into a latte, or baked into apple pie, cinnamon just feels like comfort. But not all cinnamon is the same. The kind you see most often in stores is cassia cinnamon, darker in color, stronger in flavor, and cheaper to produce. The other variety, Ceylon cinnamon, is lighter in color, milder in taste, and often called true cinnamon. Why does this matter? Cassia cinnamon contains much higher levels of coumarin, a natural compound that, in large amounts, can affect the liver in sensitive people. While coumarin isn't directly linked to higher eye pressure, liver health plays a role in overall circulation and metabolism. Some studies, including guidance from the European Food Safety Authority, recommend keeping coumarin intake below certain limits, especially if you use cinnamon daily. Switching to Ceylon cinnamon can dramatically lower your coumarin exposure, while still giving you the flavor you love. When it comes to glaucoma and IOP, there's no strong evidence cinnamon raises eye pressure. In fact, some lab research suggests it may have antioxidant benefits for the eyes. All right, let's bring it all together. We've covered chili and very spicy peppers may cause temporary IOP spikes in some, according to a 2023 study. Turmeric, antioxidant-rich, no evidence it raises eye pressure. Black pepper boosts nutrient absorption, no direct IOP effect proven. Nutmeg, safe in small amounts, very high doses can cause circulation and vision issues. Garlic, salt, seasoned salts, sodium is the concern, especially for salt-sensitive individuals. MSG, mixes, safe for most people, extreme doses only in lab settings show eye effects. Sinning, no evidence of IOP increase, Ceylon is a better choice for heavy users. Notice, none of these spices are instant villains. It's about moderation, awareness, and knowing your own health. If your eye pressure is normal and you're otherwise healthy, there's no need to fear your spice rack. If you have glaucoma or borderline high pressure, a little mindfulness with certain seasonings is just smart self-care. So here's my challenge to you. If you learned something new today, share this video with a friend or family member over 60. Leave a comment telling me which spice you use most and whether you might change how you use it. And, if you haven't had an eye exam in the past year, book one this week. Your eyes are priceless. They let you see the people you love, the colors of the seasons, and the little moments that make life beautiful. Protecting them is worth every smart choice you make, whether that's swapping one spice for another or simply paying attention to how your body responds to the foods you enjoy. Take care of yourself, take care of your eyes, and I'll see you in the next video.